there, fellow hungry travelers. Mark here with Wolters World, and today we're in Galway, Ireland. And today we're going to talk about some of my favorite street foods I've had in Europe over the last 20 some odd years. Because my gosh, one thing that Europe does amazingly well in every country is street food. And it's like every country has its own tasty treat you want to have when you're here. And I think one of the things you're going to see throughout Europe, you're going to see sausages popping up in different forms. Like, for example, you go to Germany, you'll see guys standing there with a tank of gas on the back and a grill on their front, and they're roasting bratwurst. Thüringer roast bratwurst, oh my gosh, those are the best ones. That's when you think of traditional German bratwurst. That's the kind that Germans love as well. So you want to get one, and all it comes in, you have just a little bun roll, they put the brat on there, put some mustard, happiness ensues, okay? And there's a lot of other things you can get. If you're in, Vienna, you want to have a Wienerwurst, a hot dog. But what's fantastic when you have the hot dogs in Vienna, they put in this huge roll, and they plunger it in, and they put the ketchup and mustard inside the whole thing, and then they shove the sausage in it. I know it sounds kind of naughty when you talk about it, but when you have it, it's like, oh my God, this is like the best hot dog I've ever had. Yes, you can have that. Another really good one is called a Käsekleine. Imagine a bratwurst with cheese inside. You'll see that in Austria and some parts of Germany. But I think another sausage I have to mention is one that's famous from Berlin, is currywurst. And what it is, it's one of those bratwursts. They chop it up and then they drown it in a curry ketchup. I know it sounds weird. You're like, curry ketchup? Is that spicy? No, it's super flavorful and super amazing. And the thing is, you go around, you'll have different kind of, sausages. If you're in England, you're on the street, you'll see they have the big sausages there as well that you can get. And so that's one of those kind of quick, easy things you can grab that's kind of popular all over if you want something on the go. Sausages, you can never go wrong with those, and that's popular everywhere in the world. Now, another thing that's popular all over the world is grabbing a slice of pizza. But I think the important thing for kind of a street eat in Italy is pizza Italia. And what pizza Italia is, you'll go around, and you don't sit at a pizzeria for this. This is when you go in and you see those sheets of pizza, and you literally tell them, hey, how big of a piece you want or how much weight you know. If you're good enough to know the weight of pizza, good for you. I'm not. So I say, I want this much of that one. I want this much of that one. And that's how you can try all kinds of different styles of pizza. That's how I found out that I love pear and gorgonzola on pizza is fantastic. We actually had it at our wedding as a snack because it was so good. So you have that, so you can get that. The pizza Italia in Italy, you can't go wrong for a little street bite when you're going around. Now, another thing that's kind of populated throughout Europe is the kebab, the doner kebab. Heaven in bread, all right? So if you get this, traditionally speaking, you want to have it so it comes in this triangle, which is part of Turkish bread. So the Turkish bread is this big, huge, round wheel, and they cut out like a piece of it. And then what they do is they kind of grill that bread in a little panini press, or George Foreman grill if you want to go back that far. And what they do is they'll slice them, they open it up, and they put the sauce in there. And there's different kind of sauce you get. I get the white sauce, which is it's like a garlic sauce in there, and then they'll put the meat in there, and you can get different kinds. You can get chicken doner, which isn't as good, but just the plain doner meat, which is usually like a beef or a lamb kind of mixture kind of stuff. You can have that. There's all kinds of different ones you can put in there. But the thing is, they put that, then there's like tomatoes and cucumber and lettuce in there, then more of the sauce. Oh my gosh, I still remember my friend Dave tells me, Mark, we were at the Naschmark in Austria, and you got that doner kebab. I never saw one so happy before. Because it's one of those things, and what's great is all throughout Europe, that's kind of one of the de facto after drinking snacks that people have, right? So getting a doner kebab, you can't go wrong. They're very popular in Germany, Sweden. I mean, you can get them here as well, so don't pass them up. Some people love the Turkish pizza, which is like a rolled up burrito version kind of, but I prefer the traditional doner kebab. That's just my jam. Now for a sweet treat, we're going to Spain, and one of my favorite street eats there are getting the churros y chocolate. And churros, if you're not sure what it is, think a long or sometimes circled, basically fried dough, okay? And when you have it, a lot of times you can get it with a little cup of hot chocolate. Now, when I say hot chocolate, I'm not talking Swiss Miss drinking chocolate. I'm talking like melted chocolate from heaven. And you take the churro, you dip it in there and eat that. Oh my gosh, it is so good. It's one of those things, you might have it for a breakfast snack, you might have it in the afternoon or in the evening, but it's all over. What's fantastic about churros is now everyone knows them and everyone loves them, so you can have them a lot of places around Europe and around the world. But in Spain, that's where you really have to have them. Another thing you need to have when you go around is ice cream. Specifically, if you're in Italy, getting gelato from a gelateria is something special. Like, that's one thing my kids, if they ever ask for anything, can we get another ice cream, another gelato? I'm like, yes, we can. Because you have so many great flavors, so many different combinations that are there. It's not just vanilla, it's not just passion fruit, it might be lavender rose or something, and it's just so good and so refreshing when you're there. For me, I get this weird combination. I get lemon and pistachio. Oh, it's heaven. The thing is, you have great ice cream around Europe. I mean, if you go to the Baltics, they have the old school like vanilla ice cream in a preformed cup kind of thing, or preformed cone in a bag for like next to nothing, which is like takes some people back to like the 80s and 70s with this ice cream. That's kind of a fun thing. But here in Ireland, Murphy's from the Dingle Peninsula, incredible ice cream because we have incredible dairy. But for me, gelato, that street eat is one you need to have when you're in Italy because, oh my gosh, Italian gelato is incredible. It is better than you think it's going to be. Now let's go to the Netherlands for our next sweet treat, and this is poffertjes. I know I can't say it right. I'm not going to pretend I can say it right, so I'm going to translate it into English for you. Little tiny delicious pancakes that you love. When you go to the Netherlands, you'll see these like stands, kiosks, little, food truck kind of things. And these people with these little tiny like pancake holder things, and they'll put a little bit, butter in there, and they put the batter, and they just flip them over little things. And you have this little collection of little tiny pancakes, and they put butter on top of it and some powdered sugar. Oh, they're so sweet, they're so wonderful. And yes, you will get powdered sugar over yourself, but you're not gonna care, because when people see that you're eating those things, they're like, oh, I would totally be the same way. So that's one thing. Another fantastic food, street food that I love when I am in the Netherlands is bitterballen. And it can come in, like, there's the bitterball in the ball form. It's basically, think of like a meat ragu that's then like coated and then deep fried. Oh my gosh, when you have it with the mustard, like the mustard in the Netherlands, what that just makes it's just like this fantastic thing. Though I will warn you, when you get them, they are hot as hot can be, like melt, like there's like sun, bitterballen inside, okay? Like that's the heat level in terms of like physical heat, so do be careful. And the thing is, when you go to the Netherlands, one of the good street, it's Fabo. It's basically a vending machine store. 2 or 3 euros, you're getting yourself all these little fried treats. So fried treats in Netherlands could be its own title, but I'm just going to signify that with bitterballen, something you should definitely have. Now let's talk about here in Ireland. One of the things that I found hilarious is when my fans said, oh, Mark, you're going to Ireland, don't forget to get a spice bag. I'm like, spice bag? What's that? It's been a few years now. I'm like, what's that? Like, go to the local Chinese shop and get a spice bag and it'll be to go. Don't worry. I'm like, all right. So I go, I order it, and it's, how do I explain it? It's like chunks of fried chicken and chips, French fries for my American friends, in this spicy mix kind of thing, but there's also like peppers in there too, and it gets all together, and it's just like, it's dirty, it's hot, it's so satisfying, but that's one of the things you should have when you're here. Now, you gotta go to a Chinese restaurant to find the good ones, but sometimes you see it at little fry-up places too. And next, there's something from Hungary, which you'll find in a few other places, a few other variations of it. It's called langos. And what langos is, it's a big thing of dough. Like think about donut dough, but not sweet. And they stretch it out to like about this size, and they drop it in the fryer. And it fries up and puffs up a bit, and it comes out. So you got this big, like, donut kind of thing, and then you can put either sweet stuff on there. If you want cream and jam on there, you can do that, or you can do it so you have it with savory things on there too, maybe sour cream and some cabbage or some meat on there. You could do that. It goes both ways, and there's different variations of it. If you're in Austria, they might call it, I think it was like kichel or keichel. You can have that, but honestly, those langos, you'll see that, and it's kind of a popular one that'll pop up at fairs around Europe when it's like international food fairs, because it's one of those tasty treats you're gonna have on the street. Now, another tasty treat that's becoming more and more popular throughout Europe, which you'll see especially during Christmas time, are the chimney cakes. Now, I'll put down how it's spelled, but I have no idea how to say that, so I just call it the chimney cake because that's what you'll see. And a lot of people think it's from the Czech Republic and Prague because that's where it kind of got famous for tourists, but it's actually not from the Czech Republic. It's from Hungary, okay? It's from a completely different country. And so what it is, you take this dough and you think of like a crescent roll dough, okay? And they stretch it out and they roll it onto this kind of like, turny thing, and then they cook it over the heat, and as it goes, it starts to brown up and crisp up, and it's so good. And they'll cut it into pieces, and they pull them off, and then they'll roll it in cinnamon sugar. Like, that's the traditional tasty one that I recommend. But now you'll see places they'll put ice cream in and all kinds of stuff. But honestly, those chimney cake things, you just rip off little piece by little piece. That's one thing when my kids and we go to Central Europe, like that's one of those, they see it like, Dad, I'm like, we're on it, so that's a great one to have. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention every kid's favorite street snack food when they walk around Europe, and that is the crepe with Nutella. And I'm going to give this one to Paris, and I'm going to give this to France, because let's talk about it. the crepes are the truly French kind of thing. And when you go around Paris, you'll see the little creperies, the little stands out there where they're making the crepes for people. And when you get that crepe, they put it together and they put the Nutella on there and they fold it in and put it in and give it to you. You're like, oh, it's so good. And it's one of those things you can walk around, you get a little messy. Nobody cares because it's so tasty. But it's one of those things you really look forward to. Like, when am I going to have my first crepe when I go to Paris? When am I going to have my first crepe in France? You will have it. It's one of those nice things because when you're traveling around, one of the great things about all the snack food kind of things is there's so many things I want to see. I don't want to waste daylight, so I can grab and go and eat and enjoy and be in a park or someplace nice on my way there as opposed to losing all the time in a restaurant. Now let's head back down to Sicily and we've got arancini. And arancini, imagine how do I put this? Deep fried rice ball with tastiness inside. That's the best way I can put it. It's this huge, you'll see it, this huge like fried ball. And when you bite into it, it's got the rice in there. Be careful because it'll be very hot. And traditionally speaking, they're kind of stuffed with mozzarella cheese and a bolognese sauce kind of thing. So that's another kind of hot thing you're gonna get. But it's one of those things, when you're in the very hot Sicily in the summer, they still taste wonderful. And honestly, it's a street eat that you might actually just have for a meal because it's really good. You'll see the other versions of it around Italy as well. Like Rome has their own kind as well. But yeah, the little fried stuffed rice balls, oh my gosh. You can't go wrong. Now let's talk about what are the street eats you're gonna get when you're in Athens or in other parts of Greece. A gyro. Yes, you know the gyro, or gyro as you might hear people say. No, it's gyro. Please say gyro because they'll be like, they'll just shake their heads at you. But what it is, you have your pita bread and they'll put, like, traditionally speaking, you'll see the meat spinning around. You can eat different meats. Traditionally, it's lamb. They'll shave it off, cut it off, and they'll put it in there. And sometimes you literally just have it with the pita and the bread. You can do it that way. But the really tasty way, you put the pita and the bread in there, put a little tzatziki on there. That's what you want, the white sauce. Eat it that way. You can do it that way. If you want to put a little salad in there, you can do that too. But the gyro, it's one of those quick eats. There's places around Greece where you can still eat super cheap. You just walk in. A few euros will get you a euro. I threw myself off on that one. And you'll have that. That's a really good, like, street eat kind of thing. Now let's go to Belgium for our next one. And one thing that the Belgians have exported, aside from really good beer, are waffles. And yes, getting the Belgian waffle when you walk around town, it is a fantastic sweet treat to have. You can put a little Nutella on there when they put it on, and you walk around this big, thick waffle. You're just like, who can't be happy with that, right? You're gonna have that when you're there. Another really good thing I think you should have, if we go back to a kind of a savory treat, if we go to Finland. In Finland, they have what's called a karilan pirakka, which is a rice pudding hand pie. And what it is the outside is made from a rye dough, and then the inside has this rice pudding. And then what they'll do is they'll put egg butter on top. Like, they take a hard-boiled egg, chop it up, mix it with butter, and put it on top. It's a little warm when you get it. It melts the butter with the egg in there. It's so good. Also, I'm just gonna put a blanket one on this one. Pastries and cinnamon rolls in Northern Europe. We're talking Finland, Sweden, Denmark. You know, you got fantastic pastries when you're there that you could just grab and go and walk around and enjoy. But honestly, it's the cinnamon rolls in Finland that win, okay? Korvapusti are the best for me. You have that. And then there's the ubiquitous sandwich. Yeah, the sandwiches. There's sandwiches everywhere you go in different forms. You go to the UK or you're here in Ireland, they have their pre-made sandwiches all the time with all kinds of different stuff in it, from the bacon sandwiches to the tuna fish and corn sandwich. You can have that. But if you go to places like Portugal, where they have little bifanas, which is, you know, or prego and pau, which is basically a roll with either pork or beef in it. Depending which one you get, you have that. But you'll see all these little great little sandwiches around as well when you're going around. That's why when you're going to Italy and you go to the train station, they always have a panini that they'll put together for you with some cheese and some lettuce or some ham or prosciutto or whatever. Put it in the press, get it grilled up, and get you ready to go. So what are your favorite street foods in Europe? Please let us know in the comments below so other travelers can have a tasty experience on their adventures here in Europe. Anyway, I wish you all the best. I'll say bye from here in Galway, Ireland.